Hi everyone. About a year ago I made a video about elementals, and following that video I had a lot of requests from people who would like to come in contact or connect with these beings, so asking me how to do that. So I decided to make this video to explain a little bit how we can come in contact and connect with these beings more easily, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips. So don't worry, because that's also something that people were telling me when they were writing to me. If people around you take you for crazy because you tell them that you want to contact elementals, in the same way that microbes are invisible, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. Elementals are invisible for most people, but it doesn't mean they don't exist, because they exist on a different level, in a different dimension, on a higher dimension than we do. And we just need to adjust our perception and align ourselves energetically with them, and so many things will be revealed. So the first thing we want to do when we wish to connect with elementals is, of course, to go out in nature. Because if we live in a city and we expect to make an encounter on our balcony, then it's unlikely it's going to happen, because elementals do not live in places that are transformed by humans. They live in places that are relatively intact and wild. So the first thing to do is really to go out there in the wilderness. Then we can just feel our inner guidance that will guide us to a place that we are called to. And once we find that place, we can simply ask the permission to sit and to settle there. We can choose whether we want to connect more with earth elementals, such as dwarves or gnomes, fire elementals, such as salamanders, air elementals, such as elves or fairies, or water elementals, such as mermaids, nymphs, undines. And in that case, if we want to connect with water elementals, of course we need to find a spot with water. So if you would like to know more about these, I would suggest that you watch my previous video about elementals. Another thing that will attract them is to show them our interest in the environment and in nature in general. So for example, when we walk along in nature, we can pick up trash on the way there. We can take care of plants, so gardening. We can take care of animals. We can volunteer in the field of ecology. And of course, the more we are in touch with our inner child, and the more we have kept this sense of wonder, and the more we are connected to our hearts, and the more we are pure-hearted, the more chances we have to come in contact with elementals, because they are in direct resonance with this childlike joy. So once we have found a spot, it's a good idea to come back often to that same place, that same spot that we found, and of course asking permission every time we come. And that way the elementals are going to get used to us and to our energy, because they have showed me how they perceive the world through their dimension. And the way they perceive the world it's very vibrant, it's very colorful, and it's almost like it's a layer or a filter that is superimposed upon our reality. And when there's a human that passes by on their territory, they perceive us as a gray aura or gray form passing by. And this really shows how much there is a difference between their vibration and our vibration, because humans live in this our reality is much more dense, it's much more heavy than theirs, and that's why they perceive us that way. The next thing, once we are settled down in that place, is to do a little meditation. So I would recommend at least 5 minutes, but you can do as long as you wish. So this meditation will help us to attune ourselves to the environment, and to also get rid of all this mental pollution. So we can really practice a kind of mindfulness meditation. So first focusing on our breath, so inhaling, exhaling deeply through the belly. So we can do that for a couple of seconds or minutes. And then we can focus our attention on the sensations that we have in that spot. So for example, I feel that I'm on the ground, so I feel the physical sensation of being on the ground. Then I can also use my hand and put my hand on the ground and start focusing on the sensation I have through my fingers or through my hand. Or I can focus on the sounds around me, so the birds, the crunches, or whatever, the wind, the sensation on my skin, so the breeze on the skin, the smell. So there are very various ways of focusing the attention on the environment. So this will really help to get rid of all this mental pollution, all these daily thoughts, because we really need to clear our minds to be in a receptive mode, so we can receive what is going on, and at the same time we attune ourselves to the environment. There are several means by which we can perceive these beings. So clairvoyant people will see them with their eyes fully open. We can perceive them with our inner vision, so with eyes closed. We can feel them around us, we can sense them, or we can also feel them energetically with our hands. So if you want to practice that, for example, you can find a special rock, or even better, a standing stone, because there's usually a guardian in front of it, and just keep your hand at a 1 meter distance, more or less, and start feeling around the rock. And once you start feeling a kind of tingling in your hand, and when you do this kind of movement, like backward and forward, and you feel this kind of resistance, then that means there is a being there, and you can say hello. We can also ask them for a clear manifestation. For example, a couple of years ago, I had my first real encounter with fairies as an adult. And it was in Turkey, in a region called Cappadocia, where there are very special rock formations that they call the fairy chimneys. So I was there, and I was just sitting in meditation between two rock walls, so there was no wind at all. And I just set the intention, and I asked the fairies, could you please give me a sign that you are here and that you exist? And 10 seconds later, so it was very quick, I saw and felt a strand of my hair caress my cheek like this. And so I knew immediately that they were there and they did exist, and it was a very extraordinary moment for me. And to come in contact with fairies, you can also ask a little fairy to come on your shoulder. And in the same way that I showed just before, once you can feel that she's on your shoulder, you can just put your hand here and start feeling around. And when you feel this resistance or this tingling, then it means she's on the shoulder. So the way I perceive them is mostly in inner vision, but I sometimes also see them with my eyes open. I will see luminous forms around me, so I will see blue, pink, yellow, green forms moving around, or I will see sparkles of light, and so I know that it is very likely that fairies are around me. So most of the time, the easiest way to perceive them is with our inner vision, if we are in a receptive mode, and we are free of expectations and we don't have any projections, because that's not going to help. And there are sometimes some debates about the way they look, the way we see them. So some people will say, no, they look more like this, and other people will say, no, they look more like that. So what I wanted to say is that there are actually multi-dimensional beings. So they are pure vibration, they are pure light, and they can actually choose to take the form that they want to. So they can choose to be pure light, pure vibration, or they can choose to densify themselves. And when they densify themselves, then that's the way that we are going to be able to perceive them, and with a form. And most of the time what will happen is that they will present themselves or take the form that resonates the most with us, and what is imprinted into our memory or our subconscious, unconscious mind. So for example, if in my subconscious mind or in my memory a fairy for me is Tinkerbell in Peter Pan, then it is very likely that when I perceive a fairy, I will see her as Tinkerbell in Peter Pan. Or if the way I perceive an elf is like with pointy shoes and stripy socks, then I will see an elf with pointy shoes and stripy socks. It's as easy as that, actually. Once the contact has been initiated, we can also ask them to do a work with us, always in exchange of something, of course. So, for example, fairies are very light beings that are connected to the joy of the heart. So if you want to do work on the heart, we can simply invite a fairy to enter our heart and help us with that work. Air elementals such as elves and fairies are masters of manifestation, so if we want them to teach us about manifestation or about creation, then they are the right beings to ask. Elves are responsible for the creation of plants on the etheric blueprint level, so they are very good with creation, and they're also very good regarding any artistic inspiration that we would like to have. Then we can also ask them about that. Fire elementals such as salamanders are very good if we want to gain knowledge in alchemy, because salamanders are a symbol of alchemists. Earth elementals such as gnomes or dwarves can teach us about minerals, about crystals. They can also teach us about taking care of animals. And water elementals are very good if we want to do a real therapeutic work on our emotions, and it can be very powerful. We can also invite them into our homes, and I've actually already seen elementals stick their faces to the window to see what's going on inside, especially when we do a ceremony, we play music or we sing. They are very attracted to those kinds of activities. But they are very respectful, so they will never enter unless we invite them to. And since they are very respectful, they would like us to be very respectful of their habitat and their homes as well. So they asked me to transmit this message to all those people who go to the places where they live and settle for the night, hoping to connect with them or to enter their dimension during the dreaming time. That's not necessarily something that they appreciate or they like. In the same way, we do not enter a stranger's house without asking or just, worrying about if it's okay or not, if we're not bothering or not. Well, we don't do the same with elementals. And as I've said before, they perceive us energetically very different from them, so we are much more heavy, much more dense than them, and our presence on the long term is not necessarily something that they appreciate, because it's almost like we are a foreign body on their territory. And actually they scan us energetically even before we arrive on their territory, so they know exactly who is coming and who is there. And it goes without saying that the more we are free of toxicity on a physical, emotional, mental, energetical level, the more we have chances to actually connect with them, to perceive them, to feel them, to sense them or whatever. Because the more we raise our vibration, the more we are in our light bodies, the more we are connected to the heart, the more we resonate with their vibration, which is a very childlike, very subtle, light joy. So the more we are ourselves like that, the more we have chances to connect with them. They are very happy to connect with humans with pure intentions, and they are very happy to give us a little bit of this, the vibration they have, this very light and loving and joyful vibration that they have, because they know that we live in a reality that is quite difficult sometimes. It's much more heavy, it's much more intense, and we need to reconnect with that because it's also part of ourselves. And as I've said in my previous video, a long time ago, these interactions between humans and elementals were actually very frequent, and it was simply like that because the reality at the time was less dense than it is today. But today, Gaia, our planet, is ascending to the 5th dimension. It is raising its vibration. So we are connecting also to more and more to our light bodies. We are connecting more and more to our crystal DNA, and this will allow us to actually have more contact with them and to perceive them much better. because throughout the ages it is more like the sorcerers, the witches, the druids, the shamans that have kept this contact and this partnership with them. But now it's really opening up to all humans who would like to do so, and who would like to just feel this energy and reactivate this partnership that we have with them, in order to just take care of our dear Mother Earth, to take care of Gaia, and have these beautiful encounters with these extraordinary beings, these guardians of the Earth. So I really hope that you have a good time with them. I really hope that you can connect with them and share all this love and all this joy with them, and that they can also maybe help you with something that you are struggling with and help you just on your path. See you soon.